So they're saying not only is this place haunted, it is haunted by some mean, nasty ghosts that are responsible for people's deaths. Okay, yep, I get why this place has a reputation. What's up, Rat Fam? Today I feel like doing another deep dive into a very creepy Wikipedia article. I stumbled across this while researching another creepy topic and it just fascinated me. So yeah, I thought it'd be really fun. I want to dive into the 50 Berkeley Square wiki page. So let's get to it. Lots of scary stuff we're going to be talking about. Can't wait. So fun. Not terrified at all. Y'all, it is midnight. Why? I have no business recording these creepy AF videos at night. Why do I keep doing this to myself? I guess I really like to terrify myself. So if you're new here, hi, hello, my name is Kaylena. Please hit the subscribe button and join the Rat Fam today so that I'm not terrifying myself for no reason. But let's get to it. Now, 50 Berkeley Square is the address of a townhouse, and y'all, when I tell you this place is said to be the home of some paranormal activity-ish, I mean that. And you'll see in a second, because this Wikipedia page has so many entries of different creepy things that are said to have actually taken place here. And you know, I like to come from the place of the paranormal is fun to talk about. I'm not here to tell you if this is real life or not. That is for you to make up your own mind. I just think it's a fun thing to talk about regardless if it's true or not. But oh, talking about ghost stories, man, freaks me out. Something about it, I don't know. It just gives me goosebumps and it terrifies me. So 50 Berkeley Square is reportedly a haunted townhouse on Berkeley Square in Mayfair, central London. Lots of reportedly haunted places exist in London, probably just because it's such an old city. I mean, lots of people live there, so lots of places for people to unfortunately die there too, which lends itself to scary ghost stories. In the late 19th century, it became known as one of the most haunted houses in London. So this place has been said to be haunted for so long, decades. So if this place is said to have been haunted for this long, oh, no wonder there's so many ghost stories attached to it. Now, I think it'd be fun just to go straight to the urban legends, the ghost stories, because that's why we're here, right? So like all urban legends, like we've said on this channel in every video that we talk about urban legends, which is quite a lot, there's going to be multiple variations, lots of different details replaced just depending on who you hear it from. And of course, the ghost stories of this house are no different to that. So the legend about the house does vary, but most versions state that the attic room of the house is haunted by the spirit of a young woman. There's some really tragic details that go along with this woman and her life. It's said that, you know, she took her own life in the attic of the house. The spirit of the woman that is said to still inhabit the attic is the primary focus on the paranormal activity that takes place at this address, and for good reason. It is said that merely seeing her is so overwhelmingly terrifying that it's actually capable of ending your life. Oh, that is quite the ghost story, and one that you know, most of the time I say on this channel that I'm too afraid to go explore these haunted places or locations, but then I usually end up being like, oh, but you know, one day if I had the opportunity, I wouldn't say no, just because like it'd be a really cool video, and also just to experience it for myself, even though there's a good chance that I could end up being haunted. So that's not great. But with a ghost story like this, no thank you. Not even stepping foot near this house, because why would you? I don't have a death wish. Ugh. The spirit is said to take the form of a brown mist, which is very interesting. I've never heard of a brown mist before. Usually it's like white ghost apparition-y type mist, you know, like fog. Never heard of brown mist though. That's very unsettling. Though sometimes it is reported to be that of a white figure that resembles the silhouette of a woman. So a more traditional take. A rarer version of this tale is that a young man was locked into the attic room, fed only through a hole in the door, until he eventually went mad and died. Okay, well that's certainly tragic. Oh my gosh. But that's not all. There is another scary story dealing with this attic, and it's said that the attic room is haunted by the ghost of a little girl who was murdered in the room by a servant. It is still, you know, still lurking around. Okay, so again, this attic is just a treasure trove of creepy ghost stories. So that does make you wonder a little bit of, is any of this based on any truth at all? Now, I'm not saying that multiple scary things can't happen in the same address, because, I mean, especially when a place is as old as this, I'm not saying that that can't happen, but it does make me doubt its authenticity a little bit. Maybe it's just me trying to look for like peace of mind that so many terrifying things can't possibly happen in the same room. Another urban legend belonging to this house from 1859 until the early 1870s. Thomas Myers, who was rumored to have been rejected by his fiancée, cooped himself up into the house, where he eventually went mad from isolation and just being depressed from losing the love of his life. He then died in November of 1874 at the age of 76. During his residence in the house, it fell into gross disrepair and its reputation began to develop at that point. It is then alleged that in 1872, on a bet, that Lord, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, I'm sorry, Littleton stayed the night in the building's attic, which is kind of funny to think about, that people have been daring people to do scary things to test their courage for kind of ever. But it says in 1872, but he didn't die until, the previous owner didn't die until 1874. So did he not die in the house? Or did he come into the house while the guy was still living there? There's some questions there. That timeline's a little weird. The guy brought his shotgun with him and fired at an apparition. So he is said to have seen a ghost in the attic in the 1870s. In the morning, he attempted to find the apparition, but could only find shotgun cartridges. The following year, the local council issued a summons to the house owner for failure to pay taxes, but it is claimed that they were not prosecuted because of the house's reputation for being haunted. I got some questions here. So Myers is said not to have died until 1874, but this house has already had a reputation for being haunted before then, because in 1872, someone was dared on a bet to go there, and then the following year in 1873, so he'd still be alive and I would think still in the house, it said that they didn't make them pay taxes because of its reputation of being haunted and no one wanted to live there anyway. So what are they going to do? Take the house back and let it sit there and be empty? I don't know. This timeline's really tripped me up. Maybe he just didn't live into the house until his death. Maybe a few years earlier when the house got in disrepair and developed the urban legend, he moved out and then someone else moved in. Okay, well, we're going to move past that. I'm getting hung up on the details here. So a few years later, these ghost stories are still persisting, guys. And in 1879, a piece in the Mayfair magazine alleged that a maid who stayed in the attic room had gone mad and had died in an asylum the day after. I mean, I guess it could just be a coincidence or just a made-up story. It was also alleged that after a nobleman spent the night in the attic room, that he was so paralyzed with fear that he could not speak. Oh, so you don't know what he saw or why he's afraid? Okay, why do people keep going in this attic? If nothing good comes out of this attic, and multiple people at this point have alleged scary, paranormal, creepy things happening or misfortune following them after they leave, why would anyone stay the night here? But all these people wanting to stay the night in a paranormal attic? I'm like, what? What's going on with you? My bravery does not need to be tested. Or, you know, I'm confident enough in myself that I can freely admit, too spooky for me. In 1887, so a few more years after that, it was alleged that two sailors from HMS Penelope stayed the night in the house. Again, why? By morning, one was found dead, having tripped as he ran outside the house. So something scared him so bad that he wanted to flee with all his might, and then in the process tragically tripped and hit his head. Ugh, okay. The other reported having seen the ghost of Mr. Myers approaching them aggressively. Okay, so they're saying not only is this place haunted, it is haunted by some mean, nasty ghosts that are responsible for people's deaths. Okay, yep, I get why this place has a reputation. But then again, it further cements, why the heck would anyone ever go here? Why? I don't want to see an angry ghost. I like my life, okay? I like to just talk about these scary things and share them with you guys. I don't ever want to put myself in a situation where I would genuinely fear for my life. So whenever we cover paranormal topics, I think it's always important and also just interesting to see the other side of the conversation, which is trying to rationally explain what people saw or maybe where like this hype of paranormal things happening stems from. And luckily for us, this Wikipedia article actually did just that too. It seems that whenever the house was bought by the Mag brothers in the late 1930s, nothing really paranormal has happened since. At least that's not what they've reported on. They've said that, you know, there's been no ghost sightings, no one being hurt or, you know, finding misfortune. So with the owners since saying that nothing really scary has happened there, it does make people then question the authenticity of the older ghost stories. So a common conclusion as to why ghost stories developed around this house is that the neglect of the house had inspired the imaginative stories about hauntings. You know, it's not really hard to imagine, like, ooh, that house looks creepy. There's probably creep things going on. You know what I mean? Like, you never see, well, besides like the Paranormal Activity movies, you never really see like a real nice house being like the center of a ghost story. It tends to be the ones that are dilapidated, that the paint's chipping off the walls and the floorboards squeak really loud, and maybe there's a broken or dusty, dingy window, you know, so it kind of already like sets the mood that something creepy is going on. It's not a house that you'd want to stay the night in, you know. In her autobiography published in 1906, Lady Dorothy Neville stated that Mr. Myers was a relative of hers. After he had lost his fiancée, his behavior bordered upon lunacy, and he stayed in the house all day, becoming active only at night when he rambled about making strange noises. So here's this house falling apart basically at the seams, and then you add it with the neighbors start reporting hearing creaking and weird noises coming about at night. So again, these are lots of factors that could lead someone to start making an assumption about a house, you know, for school children to start making up stories about how scary it is. She considers that Myers' nocturnal activities had been misinterpreted by others as evidence of a ghost. She continued that the hauntings had no factual basis and that the whole story was utter nonsense. And this was then later matched with people doing more paranormal investigations into the house and realizing quickly that there seemed to be no evidence of these ghost stories or tragedies actually taking place here, and that, you know, it kind of seemed like it was leaning more towards just urban legend than actual facts. So is 50 Berkeley Square actually haunted, or is it a place that kind of just had a reputation back in the day that followed it for you know, a good on century? You know, I can't answer that for you. I personally haven't been there, so you know, how can I answer that for you? But it does seem to be leaning one way more than the other. Nonetheless, the ghost stories are incredibly terrifying and no doubt terrified people for many decades. So even if the house looks all pretty and spiffy now, it didn't back then. So can you imagine hearing these ghost stories back then when the house matched the story? Like, ooh, not saying I'd believe it back then, but you know, I would go out of my way probably not to walk too close to that house if I was walking down the street, you know what I'm saying? But thank you guys so much for watching today's deep dive into this creepy Wikipedia article. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please give this video a big thumbs up. It helps out this video and this channel and this community, the Rad fam. You guys are so rad. And until next time, keep with the radness, and I'll see you guys real soon. Bye. And look, guys, Miss Frankie Dank decided to join us. Frankie, you want to say hi to everybody? No? You're just gonna, okay, nope.